Hi, my name is Lori Grillon. I'm a normal, everyday citizen here in the United States, but I am also a concerned advocate for the dwindling environment that we have around us, that we can draw back completely to CO2 emissions into our environment that have drastically induced climate change to rates that are happening so quickly and so fast that some scientists even say that we have as little as 135 months to get everything together to start making a change. Otherwise, the earth is going to be what they call unsalvageable, or as we head straight into the place of no return. Now, these scientists come from Royal Society, a society meant and based completely off of studying the effects of climate change on the environment, which go hand in hand kind of with National Geographic and how they go out and study and take pictures of the development or rather undevelopment of these populations and environments of animals and how drastically they are changing due to climate change directly. Now, what I would argue most is even though we do have statistics that, show the effects of climate change, if you are a non-believer and don't believe the statistics, you will look around and you will believe that things are changing. Perhaps you've had a hotter winter, or perhaps you live in an area that never snows and you all had a blizzard this winter. Or even think about how many droughts and wildfires California's had. These are directly pinpointed to climate change, increasing temperatures that affect weather patterns, that affect the climate zones, and these directly influence any animals in the area that causes them to migrate. So an area can become overpopulated with animals, or likewise, they can become underpopulated and cause increased issues. But those places where those animals become overpopulated is where we have an issue. This is where we lead to a bunch of CO2 emissions into the air, whether this is from the waste product or from the toxins that the animals themselves are breathing out. So this is also taking away from our oxygen levels. Now, according to National Geographic as well, our O2 in the air is already at the point of no return. We've destroyed it that much that they say even planting trees at this point, which provides our air oxygen, will not save the ozone layer. This is due directly to greenhouse gases, and NASA does a wonderful job explaining what greenhouse gases do. So they actually literally destroy the ozone layer, which protects us from a bunch of different stuff, including the sun's very harmful and hot rays. But basically, it is from the amount of fossil fuels we burn, causing emissions and CO2 to build up in the air, in the atmosphere, which actually choke out the oxygen that we have in the air. So we are literally choking out the environment. We're choking out ourselves, other mammals, trees, leading to deforestation. Essentially, we are killing the planet. Now, a big lead and cause to what is bringing so many emission levels is the fact that our population is growing at extreme measures, but we are not taking care or adapting our environment to take care of such populations. So a big one is everyone drives to work in the morning. Whether you've got to drop a kid off at school, whether you got to go to the grocery store, somebody's driving somewhere. At some point in the day, you're in a car. Now, cars put off immense emissions into the air. That is actually the number one leading cause of what climate change is all contributed to, is car emissions. So say we've got almost 8 billion people on this planet, and almost all of them are driving, despite babies or people with disabilities, anything of that nature, folks who can't drive in general. Almost everyone is driving in that population. So take 5 billion of those people are driving. Now, say we've got, let's say we've got 3 billion businesses in the world. 5 billion of those people are inhabiting these 3 billion businesses that we have, all distributed. So take one small company, like my company, for example, and say we've got 20 people working there. So in the morning, that's 20 cars on the road, 20 cars burning gas and feeding CO2 and emission levels into the atmosphere. And that is also 20 cars bogging down highways, which is increasing a need for more highways to be built, which is taking away from any forestry that we have left. So now let's look at one car. And one car versus 20 cars is clearly going to make a huge difference in the amount of emission levels being put off into the atmosphere. So what if we created a plan that required, just like schools have, employers to have a bus system designated to go to their employee's house, pick them up. If they need to stop for breakfast, that's a stop. They've got one stop per morning, so they can get those Starbucks runs or the Dunkin' runs, whatever they need. Drop them off at work at the time they're supposed to arrive. The transportation can also be available during their lunch hour. So if anybody is used to running off and getting those Zaxby's salads or that Chick-fil-A sandwich, they're also willing and able to do that. But lastly, and most importantly, the way home, people also have children that they need to worry about picking up. But don't worry, the bus schedule will run by and help pick up your children. Even if you are not quite yet completed with work, they will get them to you on time and safely. But they will also designate days that you could go to the grocery store or to the mall or to wherever you would need. This one bus would be able to take you there. So this is one car versus 20 coming in the mornings. So not only does this cut down on traffic and CO2 emissions and anything of that nature, but it is also drastically making a huge footprint into the environment, which is positively affecting everything. If we can start to cut down in little ways like that on our emission levels into the atmosphere, we can slow climate change. This is not to say we will stop climate change. Climate change is connected to a bunch of different things that we are doing wrong in this environment due to our overpopulation. However, change begins with small steps. This means to say, while climate change is being affected by the ton of CO2 and emissions that we put off into the air every day, why not look at one small step that would dwindle the amount of CO2 levels going into the atmosphere every day? That would be doable for people, that would be appealing to people, maybe even offer an incentive for them participating in riding the bus to work, whether that's, I don't know, 10 cents extra a day, or whether they get free coffee in the morning on the way to work or free lunch midway through the workday. Something little that would be insightful for people to really see, hey, we are making a difference. And it would just be really beneficial. Now you ask, how might we pay for this? Because that's going to be everybody's concern at this point. But say one person sells their car, or one person trades their car in. Out of these 20 people that work here, you've got the money for a bus, a brand new spanking bus. You've got the money. Now say the employer decides that they are willing to pay for that as well. And perhaps they lease it out. So the employees would then be responsible for a small monthly fee, but you split a monthly car payment into 20 parts. You're looking at possibly $25 or even less dollars a month. Now, how about we add in some gas? So perhaps now we're looking at maybe $40 per person per month. This is still going to be cheaper than somebody driving their car to and fro work, to lunch, to coffee, to get their kids by themselves. Because I don't know about you, but my car takes about $40 a week to fill up. Now we're talking $40 a month with the alternative to lessen the CO2 emissions. Do you sound interested yet? Do you feel like this could work? Are you starting to see how little steps and little changes can finally make a big difference? You can be the change. We've just got to get folks on board. But you sit down and you do the math and you can simply see that the answer is slowly starting to take steps towards a bigger difference. Okay, you look at the big picture and you can find a small, simple way that would slowly build and snowball effect on each other and really create the difference that we need in the environment today. Otherwise, we simply will be heading into a place of no return. Thank you.